Wait,
Oh, we're back. What's the latest? So latest is, why don't you tell me?
so the latest, there's a few things. One of which is the idea that Nancy Pelosi is going to be withholding documents withholding the impeachment articles, and she's not going to be appointing any managers until she sees that there is a fair trial up to her standards. A lot of pundits talking about what problems this creates. However, um, this is pretty much the only card she has to play. As long as she's holding on to the articles, then essentially the trial can't start. And it seems to be working out in my opinion, it seems to be working out for Democrats.
Yeah. So I mean, wouldn't the point of passing off the articles of impeachment would be in order to start a trial? But I mean, if she's using it as a bargaining chip, wouldn't that be like the quid pro quo, same type of thing that she's complaining about Trump doing with Ukraine?
Absolutely not. The type of quid pro quo that Trump is being accused of doing is withholding military aid to a foreign country that desperately needs it for his own personal political benefit. Quid pro quo is just this for that. It's not anything that the Dems are. It's not anything related to what the Dems are accusing Trump of doing, which is illegal
Right.
if
So
convicted.
I mean, so what will be the end of this? If she just holds on to the articles of impeachment and just doesn't ever pass it on to the
The
Senate.
Senate. Well, in her mind, so like the news that came out recently was there have been some Freedom of Information Act requests on behalf of us citizens to uncover certain emails that were with the Office of Management and Budget, and you're starting to see that the citizens are able to try to put together some type of timeline, essentially that 91 minutes or something after Trump's call with President Zelensky, that
Shouldn't that be up to for cross examination at trial? I mean, now we're focusing on just little pieces of evidence here and there, but shouldn't that be presented in front of the Senate so that people can cross examine the witnesses and see what they know, see what they don't know, see what the extent of their knowledge is?
that's exactly the Democrats' argument is they've been trying to get these witnesses, essentially the one who wrote the email, they've been trying to get these witnesses during the House committee hearings and even during during the House committee hearings, and essentially Trump's blocked every single document and every single witness. So what Nancy Pelosi's she's hedging her bet. She's essentially saying, you know, I'm just going to hold on to these things. I might take a little bit of heat from it, but it's essentially what past Congresses have done. Take a little heat from it and then see how much more evidence comes out to put pressure on McConnell to allow for some witnesses, because I believe he doesn't want any witnesses.
I mean, how are you going to have a trial without witnesses? I
100%.
think that they want to have disclosure of the witnesses. I think that's what Chuck Schumer's trying to do, is show talk about certain witnesses or maybe like a few witnesses, but it's really just a matter of passing off the articles in order to hold a trial. And I mean, before any trial, you really have to agree on rules or have the judge rule what the rules are going to be. And obviously, if there's witnesses out there, then everyone should know about them, and the article should be passed off so that the trial could start.
Right, but you have to pay attention to some of the political rhetoric too, right? Where people or some Republican senators are saying they're not going to be impartial, and that they would prefer not to have any witnesses. And let's say what the Democrats saying is possible that it's true, is that a president is, or the current president is involved in some tomfoolery, then more than, I'm going to call it tomfoolery, but they're alleging obviously a little bit more serious allegations. That wouldn't it be pertinent for us to have these witnesses testify immediately, especially if they're exonerating him?
What's that ringing, by the way? Is that you or me?
Extreme, us lawyers, we get extremely popular over the holidays. So people thinking that, can't wait until I park. It is getting a little bit distracting. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can turn it off here. Let's see. I'll just turn the car off there.
Same here or what?
What?
Oh, okay.
I think we're okay.
So, okay, so I guess that's it. I mean, obviously everyone would want to see some kind of resolution to this, whether it be, to start the trial or to,
Well,
maybe even withdraw. Just say, okay,
right.
we had the impeachment, but now I hear that they want to call Don McGahn back to Congress in order to testify. Maybe even rewrite the articles of impeachment. I mean, what would be the purpose of this? Just to like start this whole indictment process without actually going through a trial?
Well, the whole thing with Don McGahn essentially is that they had subpoenaed him because he's a fact witness in the Mueller investigation, and so President Trump was saying that his inner circle has absolute immunity over every his inner circle has absolute immunity as like the president does, or like the president says he does. So with the articles of impeachment being passed over to being voted on and approved, essentially Trump White House or the Department of Justice was saying that essentially that issue is moot. So if whether McGahn has to testify, whether he has absolute immunity, I think it's ridiculous. I think that we the people should have brought oversight over the people who work for us and take a salary from us. And I think that she's playing it out, withholding these articles because you're seeing evidence come out. It's the court of public opinion, right? That she's trying to turn. It is a political process.
So what is a political move that for her to hold on to the articles of impeachment? That doesn't really have like a basis for justice. It's really just to kind of like extort the Senate into giving the rules that she wants.
No, I think that it's both. It's political and it's also to try to get true judgment. And when somebody says that you're not going to allow witnesses who are pivotal in a case, I mean, I automatically presume, and maybe this is unfortunate, but I automatically presume that there's a semblance of guilt there when you're saying that nobody can testify on my behalf, especially if they exonerate me. It's like a backwards style of thinking. I feel like you'd want to have as many people testify as possible saying that what the Democrats are piecing together never happened. But it's a little bit political too. This is the same thing that McConnell did with Merrick Garland, or not allowing Obama to appoint any federal judges when he was in his last year as president. It's politics, right? So there's half political, and I think that half has to be, I mean, I'd like to see some witnesses, at least maybe a couple, just testifying as to what these committees put together in their reports. That'd be nice. I mean, we spent money on the reports.
I mean, look, when we start the trial, then that's when witnesses will testify, right?
Anyway. That's what McConnell's saying. He's saying that it should be like Clinton's trial, where you start out and then you see kind of who you need as a witness. But these thousands of pages of reports out of committee, it's pretty apparent what the Dems want to see. What?
It's pretty much how trials go sometimes. All right. Stay tuned. We'll do it next time.
All right. See ya.
See ya.